This is the 2024 Porsche 718 Boxster GTS 4.0. Is it better than you could imagine? Hey everybody, it's Tom from Vehicle Visionary. I hope you're having a great day. Today we're back at Porsche Shreveport, and we're going to go over the particulars on this not so easy to find model that you better jump on real quick if you want a brand new one, because they're going away and going fully electric as of 2025. So the last year with this gas burning flat six available this year in 2024. We're going to dig in and talk about what you can find with this particular model. Fairly simplistic, but at the same time, extremely impressive. If you want to know more, check out the link down in the description of the video to the Porsche Shreveport website. The exterior color on this model is GT Silver Metallic. And highlighted here on the front end, obviously the Porsche crest is going to be here. And nobody does it like Porsche when it comes to having vehicles that over the years of being redesigned, they still maintain that similar look to their original look from many decades ago. You see that with the 911s, you see that with this Boxster, even though it's not quite as old as the 911. I better say that before somebody says something in the comment section and thinks that is what I'm actually saying. It's not. And you will find the blacked out interior here with the headlight housing and also your headlight washers right here. Now, if you wanted, you could actually spec in having these to be body color. Just something to know in case you were curious, that is actually available. And with a Porsche, as is nothing unusual, everything here is not only functional, but it also serves a purpose. So you're not going to find any faux vents. Everything that needs to function as a heat extractor is going to do so. It's also going to allow air in, all of that wherever it needs to be. We have, including air in, let's talk about that. We've got air coming in right here for the engine. So these are also functional. I really like that. If you're going to have it, it might as well work. And something that is a little bit different for those who may be checking out the Porsche brand for the first time. This also, nothing unusual to not only have the gas cap right here, the gas tank in this area, but you'll fill it here on this side. So don't go looking around in the back, because if there's another Porsche purist around, they might be laughing at you instead of with you. And when it comes to the tire and wheel setup, here on the front end, we're going to have 235 on the width and a 35 series sidewall wrapped around the 20-inch wheels. The Porsche crest right there on the center cap, the cross drilled rotors, and they're also going to be two-piece rotors. You're going to find the brake caliper is going to be nice bright red. I like that. It stands out perfectly. The GTS 4.0 logo prominently displayed here on the lower portion of the doors. And we'll work our way back here to the rear. A little bit more width on the tires. We're looking at 265 on the width in this case. Still that 35 series sidewall and wrapped around the 20-inch wheels. And to answer those common questions about the side view mirrors, they have everything you want here. They are going to be power adjustable. They're also going to have, well, not built into them, but you will have blind spot monitoring, as you can see right there, actually as part of the door. But the mirrors are also power folding. Those are the things that everybody is looking for. Now tell me what you think about having the blind spot monitoring built into this area instead of your side view mirrors. Do you like it? Do you not? Do you have a preference? What do you think? And the button I used to fold those mirrors in was that button right there, just above the controls to adjust the positioning of your power adjustable side view mirrors. And there's a quick look at the remote. You can see what's on there. Pretty simplistic, but it is classic Porsche. Gonna have the crest right there, and it obviously looks like a Porsche. So, being that this is a mid-engine car, you actually have an advantage here. You don't have to go EV to have a frunk. So nice to see that. Nothing out of the ordinary. Obviously, there's other vehicles on the market that have this kind of functionality. But here's what's interesting. See how small this area is right here? There's still a release in case somebody gets trapped in here right there. And it makes me think back to something I saw as a kid where a man actually got into a bottle. How in the world he did that? Not a small bottle, but a very large bottle. Some of you might have seen that on TV many years ago, but I remember that. I just can't tell you who did it. That person could probably fit in here no problem. I don't know who else could. And one thing you most certainly won't find here are any fake exhaust, any exhaust outlets that are basically faux exhaust like we see on some vehicles out there. True exhaust here. You're going to get a good note on that shortly. I promise to give that to you. And we'll have the nice looking tail lights, the Porsche logo, and the 718 Boxster GTS logo as well. And some modern day technology. You can see the sensors right here. We're going to have some great features such as the sensors for parking and all that kind of stuff. Make sure you don't run into anything. The only thing that I can't do for you here is show you the engine, unfortunately. Just the way it goes, but I can sure tell you all about it. So you're going to have a 4-liter flat 6, and like I said, everything about this car is intentional, including the flat 6 that's going to have a lower center of gravity compared to a V6, something along those lines. 394 horsepower, 317 pounds-feet of torque, in this case mated to a 7-speed PDK. You can go with a manual transmission if you so desire. How about performance numbers? Top speed of 182 miles per hour. 0 to 60 in 3.3 seconds. Quarter mile, 1170 or 11.7 seconds at 119 miles per hour. Power to weight ratio is not bad because this car weighs 3,254 pounds. And I'll give you a quick look here into this area of the vehicle. You do have a reasonable amount of cargo space for such a small vehicle, so I think that works out really well. Very easy to deal with. One more thing we definitely want to talk about here. How about your MPGs? I know a lot of you like to know about that. 19 city, 24 highway, 21 combined, and 4.8 gallons of gas per every 100 miles driven. And going back to the gas tank, one of the things I like to give in my videos is the gas tank size. You don't hear about that in all of these videos on YouTube. In this case, we're looking at 16.9 gallons. One more thing I wanted to talk about back here is the spoiler that you can raise or lower. There is a button on the interior to do that, and that button is located right here. And if you're that person that's saying, you know what, Tom, I'm very tempted to come into Porsche Shreveport and buy that Boxster you're showing us in today's video. What is the sticker price? $115,270. And if you are interested, depending on when you watch this video, make sure you click on that link down in the description of the video to make sure that it's still here at the dealership. From what I've been told, these don't last very long. And the interior is a very interesting balance of kind of an old school look and feel, which I think is perfect here, and a little bit of modern day technology. Right here, I can use the scroll wheel to go through a lot of different information on the right hand side of the instrument cluster, as you can see, including navigation right there, and a few other things as well. If you need to go into one of the options, you can just push the button or whatever you're doing right there if you need to start the timer, whatever you're doing. So some pretty cool stuff going on where that's concerned. I like that. It's a lot of fun. Very, very neat to see what all is here. Now, you do have that combination of the analog gauges and the digital speedometer down there on the lower portion of that middle gauge. So you're going to see that. It is kind of interesting that that's on the tachometer and the speedometer is on the left-hand side, but that's the way it is. Not necessarily a bad thing. And some of the more simple things that are going to be here, you're going to have seat memory right here. So if you need to use that, you can. Now that's only on the driver's side, not on the passenger side. Controls for the side view mirrors and your power windows right there, and the control for your headlights. And obviously right here is how you start the vehicle. On the left-hand side of the steering wheel, that's actually race inspired. Early days of endurance races, it was believed as the drivers ran to hop in their cars to get started that it was easier and quicker to start with the ignition on the left-hand side of the steering wheel instead of having to reach over here to the right. Kind of an interesting thing. And your steering wheel mounting controls, you've really already kind of seen what's here. Pretty normal for a model like this. We're going to have our shifter paddles up here for gearing up and gearing down. And right here your drive mode selector. Right now we're in normal. You have individual, and let's see if you can hear it. I don't know if you can hear it. Maybe you can hear that change in the exhaust note as we go to Sport and Sport Plus. And obviously we need to hit the button right here to turn off the auto stop start feature. Yes, that is here, in case you were wondering about that. And you can also change the exhaust note right here if you want to. Traction control, suspension settings right there. And we're going to have that classic look again with the dash area. And we do have a touch screen here. Pretty basic, pretty simplistic, not a whole lot to talk about where that's concerned. But depending on what you need to do, there's a lot you can go through actually, but not an overload. It's not too difficult to learn, too difficult to use. I think it works just fine. For those who maybe don't want too much, well, that's actually a good thing because you don't have as much here as you might with some vehicles. And we do have a backup camera in case you were curious about that. There it is. And you have the nice trajectory lines. I like that setup on the trajectory lines. Just seems a little more appropriate than just having those lines on the outside. Having that blue section in the middle is good too. I think that's blue. It might be purple. Maybe I need to have somebody tell me for sure. But that's what we have. And the shifter right here for our PDK transmission. Easy to deal with. You just push that button down if it's in park right there and you're going into reverse, all of that good stuff. And you can push it over to the side like that and gear up and gear down just like you can with these paddle shifters right here. I think this would be a little bit more fun to use for such a thing like that. And we have our knob for controlling the radio, the volume, and the stations right here. All of that's going to be here. And your air conditioning is all here too. Dual zone climate control, that works well, even though we don't have a huge interior. Well, if somebody wants it to be warm on one side and cool on the other, well, you can do that. You also have heated and ventilated seats. So there's our ventilated seats, 3 different settings, heated seats, 3 different settings. Like I said, you have that combination of kind of an old school look, minimalistic technology, but there is some modern day technology here as well. Now, to put the top down, it's nothing major. You just hold the button like this and it rolls the windows down a little bit, lets the top down. I'm gonna let you see how fast this happens because it is a fairly quick process to put the top down and then to put it back up. Quicker than some vehicles that I've been in. But it definitely gets the job done and it does it quickly. And what about storage in an interior of this size? Well, you have a glove box right here. That's actually fairly large. We have a center console. Not too big, but it might look like you don't have much of a door bin until you pull like that. There is actually a reasonable amount of space in there for the size of the car. And we'll also have big armrests, a little bit more space in the front right there next to the speaker. And obviously you have the seats right here. They're going to do a good job, decent bolstering of keeping the passenger and the driver in place. The driver probably has a better chance of not having to worry about it so much because they know what's going on when you're in the passenger seat. Here's one little trick. If you want to know how fast your car is, ride in the passenger seat. Let someone else drive. It's always faster from the passenger seat. And one more thing I did want to share is that you do have power adjustable seats too. You also have lumbar support. This is going to be on the driver and the passenger sides. All right, here we go on the test drive. And I don't have a lot of distance to work with here, so we'll do our best. And I do apologize that the only place where I could put you was in the windshield. Just one of those things. But I did want to leave the top up because I knew that would help us out with mitigating some of the noise. So let's see what happens. Now I'm just driving in normal mode right now. We'll let this oncoming vehicle pass real quick and then we'll step on it a little bit and see how it goes. Definitely going to be a fun experience with hitting the gas pedal. Wow, in normal mode, that is impressive. So now I'm going to switch to sport mode and here we go. Wow, that is so much fun. Don't want to go too crazy because there is some business around here. Don't want anyone pulling out in front of me or anything like that, but I'm going to tell you what. This is probably one of the best power to weight ratio vehicles I have driven, maybe ever here. A few years ago, when I first was getting started here on the Vehicle Visionary YouTube channel, I did a video with an Alfa Romeo 4C, and it was definitely a blast to drive. 2,700 pound car, mid-engine is just like this one. The only difference was that it didn't have near as much horsepower, and the other difference, there's actually two big differences, it didn't have power steering. It was so fun to drive, but I'm wondering if I shouldn't go ahead and bump that one down and put this Boxster ahead of it, because this Boxster is a blast to drive. Definitely fills the bill for pushing you back in the seat, that great punch in the gut experience that I know a lot of us look for as far as getting down the road here. I'm going to make sure that this truck is going to stop at his stop sign, because we sure don't want to be run over by an 18-wheeler. And here we go. This is my favorite spot on these test drives. And why is that? Because you can launch right here. Oh my goodness, I don't want to stay in it too long. Well, that's not really true. I do want to stay in it longer than I did, but we're going to be careful here. We're getting into an area with some residential streets and stuff like that, but my goodness, what a blast. Boy, that was a great launch. And you know what? Making my little U-turn right here, very easy to do because of a nice tight turning radius. Boy, just so much fun to drive. Wow. The sound, the acceleration, the feel, the steering, the handling characteristics are just so on point here. No big surprises where Porsche is concerned, but I'm going to tell you what, definitely not let down. This is the most wonderful experience that I get to have in making these videos. That is a fact. When you get to drive these high performance vehicles that are just so much fun, you just can't beat it. And so we're going to get on it a little bit more here. Wow. And the braking is phenomenal too. If you need to slow down quickly, you can. I'm not really applying the brakes too hard, but as you can imagine, the handling characteristics, well, it's just like I was talking about with the Alfa Romeo 4C. It's like driving a go-kart, even though you do have power steering here in this particular case. I can't imagine driving this without power steering. You just feel so much more involved. And the thing I like in a vehicle like this is you can actually feel through the steering wheel how light the car is. If you don't have that experience, it's probably hard for you to understand what I'm saying, but it really makes a difference in how you feel as you drive the car. An example of that, after I did that 4C, not long after that, this was back in 2019, I reviewed a 2019 Corvette ZR1. Much heavier car, and I could really feel that through the steering wheel as far as the weight of the car. And I don't feel cramped here in the interior. I'm going to talk about maybe some of the practical things going on with this Boxster. I don't feel cramped. I'm 5'10". If you're over 6 feet tall, yeah, you might be able to fit in here. It just depends on how you set the seat up. And I didn't talk about this earlier, but I'm going to mention it. You do have a tilt and telescopically adjustable steering wheel. It is manually adjustable, but you know what? I'd rather have it manually adjustable than not adjustable at all. So that makes a big difference where that is concerned. One of those nice little things that helps out to help you be as comfortable as possible. And for a car that has the capabilities of what this one does, the ride quality is not too bad. I'm really impressed with how it rides, how it handles, obviously. Plenty of room here in the interior for the driver and the passenger. Obviously not going to be able to take a ridiculous amount of luggage with you or anything like that, but you do have space in the front and that rear trunk area if you need it. But I'd say a very well-balanced car, practical for the little road trips. I don't know what more can be said besides I don't care about all those other things. It is just so much fun to drive. If I wasn't building a new race car, this may very well wind up in my garage. All right, tell me what you think about this Boxster that we've looked at in today's Vehicle Visionary video. Is it better than you could imagine? Tell me what your thoughts are. Definitely a blast to drive, a very unique vehicle. If you're looking for a smaller sports car, this will definitely fill the bill and give you that thrill, I didn't intend for that to rhyme, but it did, of the performance and the handling that Porsche is known for. I do want to say a special thanks to my friends at Porsche Shreveport for loaning me this Boxster for the day so I could tell you all about it. And a special thanks to all of you for being kind enough to give me the opportunity to give you a vision for your next vehicle. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to hit the like button. That helps me out a lot. Make sure to share this video on your timelines so other people can see it. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future videos. And if you would like to learn about additional vehicles you may wish to consider purchasing, check out the video that's on the screen right now, and I'll see you there.